Let me first, before I say anything, is just to have you to pause with me and just think about a moment that you were called forward in such an auspicious occasion. And just think about that moment with me. This is pretty special, isn't it? Before I get started, I want to thank the nominee, the person who made all this possible. They didn't have a dozen roses, unfortunately, in them, but I want you to come forward and receive this basket of goodies. In here, I got a little teddy bear for you to embrace at night. I got you a little something from St. Louis to remember your stay here. And you know, we always got to have some sweetness, so I got you some M&Ms. I was looking for Skittles, but they didn't have them. Thank you so much. Let me say this as a humble steward, or servant, if you will, of a profession I have grown to love. I knew nothing about journalism or the field of communications when I left Cornell University back in 1994. But I was made an offer at the College of Communications at Penn State that no man or woman would ever refuse. An opportunity to start a program to lead our future historians into the field to meet the challenges of the 21st century. I really like this saying that journalists are the ones who write the first page of history. That is so profound. And listening to my students and their comments simply have just embraced my heart. Think about it. I've got right now 3 students that I can recall that I recruited through the workshop as high school students who went on to get their education in journalism, 2 at Penn State and 1 at the University of Minnesota. They became profound journalists in their own right. And they know how Dean Selden is. I needled them to come back and get their masters and PhDs. And all 3 are now pursuing their PhDs. 2 have received their PhDs and are professors in journalism. I speak of their names because I want you to remember and know who they are. A new one that just got through being needled by me for over 7 years is Steve Bionamine, who will start our PhD program this fall, and he comes to us from foxsports.com in California. Steve was one of those rare students that achieved in 4 years what only all of us can really we can't even imagine, and that is to achieve 3 degrees in 4 years' time. He got a degree in political science, economics, and journalism. He applied to law school, got accepted, but you know there was something about journalism that rung true for him. He liked seeing his name. If ever you have an opportunity to talk to him, just realize he's in a different dimension than the average human being. He's up there. Intellectually solid, journalistically profound and proven, and he will make one heck of a professor. We're looking forward to his arrival within a week. With that, you know this name, you should. Morales Balaji. We nicknamed him Mo. Profound journalist. Wrote 2 books while pursuing his PhDs at Penn State. He is now a professor at Lincoln University and wrote a book on Du Bois, his history and legacy. And he's Indian. You talk about multicultural affair and understanding, he's right there, cutting edge. Morales Balaji. And then one gentleman that I happened to steal from Lincoln, Latrell Crenton, who is now at the University of Illinois finishing his PhD, and he's on loan to Lincoln as an adjunct professor teaching journalism. These are just simply 3 examples of students that I have been so blessed, so fortunate to have recruited, and we get together every now and then. I am so profoundly fortunate, and this award simply, if you will, highlights a tremendous career that I've had, and I look forward to continuing it. I want to share with you that I simply represent what you see, and the cast that surrounds me that has helped me to be as successful as I am starts with having a dean. And where is Dean Marie Harden? There she is. Stand please. Y'all give her a applause. You see, it's not enough to recognize her and Dean Anderson, but to say that they allowed me the room to play. The room to play. Meaning simply, Joe, here's your responsibility, now you take it. You know, we have some deans that like to kind of micromanage. We have some deans that say, remember you got a budget. We got some deans that just don't get it. Diversity is critical to the future of journalism. Diversity is critical to the future of journalism. I'm repeating that twice because I don't want you to forget it. The other thing is, I've got to tell you, there's 5 other categories that surround me. So when you look at me, you see my dean. I want you to see the spiritualness in me. Because without God, I would be alone. I'm never alone. Never alone. And I got to thank my family. Because we do sacrifice a lot. Like I got to fly out this afternoon to be at a commencement tomorrow because I've got students wanting to see Dean Selden and their families. To do what? To embrace me, to thank me for being there for their sons or daughters during those critical times when mom and dad, grandma and granddad, aunt and uncle couldn't be there. You see, we embrace our students. That's why I'm so proud that we retain 85% of our first-year students every year. Every year. And I'm saying it like that because it takes a lot of work to do that. Hearing about the party school, I hate that you mentioned that. When folks get away from home, what do you think they do? They go crazy. Some come back with tattoos, piercings, and the mom looks at me and says, Dean Selden, they didn't have this when they came here. So how do they have it now? I said, Mom and Dad, remember, we allowed them to try to be mature and on their own. Penn State didn't put the tattoo on your daughter. Penn State didn't put the piercing in her belly button. That was her choice, her decision. And you gotta just love it. At least I do. To see those faces that come back every fall and to know that you will assist in their development and growth as future journalists. It's really a wonderful opportunity. So then I thank not only my God, my family, I also must throw in my colleagues. You see, at Penn State, before I left Cornell, Cornell copied what Penn State did in terms of having in every academic college a diversity director that was responsible for recruiting both undergraduate and graduate students. And see, they don't do what I do, and that is I throw in a component of academic advising. I know I'm a little crazy. But you see, I know where the rubber meets the road in terms of retention. It's not enough to be a person of color and to be in an office. You got to know what the score is in terms of who are the better professors, what are the better courses to take, what's the quickest track for me to take to get my degree, and how do I get that job? So our college has developed over the years now a full-time director of internship and job placement, second to none. So when mom and dad ask, well, what kind of job can you get in film? What kind of job can you get in advertising and public relations? What kind of job can you get in broadcast and print journalism, we have an office full-time devoted to developing internships, which develops into job opportunities. Then I got to give it to my alums. As you can hear from my collection of folks that's behind me, now the numbers have gone from 1 to 20 to 30, now to hundreds. They call me, Dean Selden, I got this prospective student that you need to see. It could be from the West Coast, it could be from the East Coast. I said, you know, give me their number, I'll give them a call. Oh, Dean Selden, this family's visiting Penn State, can you see them? Clear my calendar so I can see them. And then my faculty. At times we have, and I see a number of you here, adversarial roles. Because you see, I'm the advocate for that student. When that student said they couldn't make your class, and you kind of doubt their rationale, then you and I go in your office and we talk. It just so happens she's a proud young lady who on this particular day, unfortunately, was a victim of date rape. You didn't understand it because she didn't want to share that with you. All you saw was an empty seat. But because of our profound relationship, you and I talked about it. You then had empathy. You then had compassion. You then had understanding, and we gave her another shot. The student, on the other hand, got the referral to the appropriate office for therapy, and bless her heart, she made it through it, and she's going to be graduating tomorrow. And I'm going to conclude by leaving you, as I do with my students, my pearl of the day, as we would say in the fraternities and sororities. And that's simply a gift of thought. And here it goes. From the Reader's Digest by an unknown author, one day I picked up out of my grandmother's house. A saying went something like this: it's better to know things as they are than to believe things as they seem. And I often ask students to interpret that for me. I will give you my interpretation. It's better to know things as they are than to believe things as they seem. You deal with reality. Thank you.